the capacity to repay it to the federal government. I'll just buzz through these. Our budget, this is where I was. Our construction is about 68% of our budget, and then 14% is debt related, which of course is borrowed money for construction projects. Operation maintenance about 5%, and then overall district administration and some district projects, including the treatment plants, fit within that 13%. Revenues, about 30+% of our revenue comes from property tax, which is what we're talking about here today. We get about 17% from sale of water, and that number continues to increase every year as we sell more and more water. We get a chunk of money from the federal government, although that's not as reliable as we would like it to be. It yo-yos a little bit from year to year, but at the same time, that's a portion of our budget, and we estimate what we're going to receive. And then fund balance is money that was bonded for or carried over from prior years, and we'll pull some from fund balance as we move forward as well. Okay, so in Utah County, the Alpine Aqueduct, which is just above Mama Choos, if you drive up Provo Canyon, look up the canyon at Mama Choos, you'll see that white pipeline that's up there on the above ground. The reason it's above ground is it crosses the fault line. And so if there's any movement in that fault line, then the pipe is essentially on big rollers that can move without rupturing. However, we're in the process of replacing that because the rest of that from where Mama Choos is to the west is all within an ancient landslide. And when we get a wet winter, cross our fingers, we get more of them, that slide moves and that pipe is actually starting to egg shape a little bit. So we're going to relocate that, bring it down to 800, almost 800 north, and then take it out to the west, and then back around the slide to connect it back up near the Don A. Christiansen water treatment plant. That's about a $100 million project, and so a portion of the money we'll talk about from property tax will go for that. We also, a polishing plant, someone may say, what in the world is a polishing plant when it comes to water? As we purchased the water from the Geneva bankruptcy years ago, most of the wells and the water rights came from wells that were not very deep. Quality was fine for Geneva's purposes, but not fine for drinking purposes. And so when we purchased that water, we capped all of those old wells, drilled new wells, much deeper into safer aquifers. However, we found that there are some of those aquifers that have some manganese in them, which causes the water, when it's mixed with chlorine to protect it, has just a little tiny bit of a yellow sheen to it. And no one is excited about drinking water that doesn't look crystal clear. So the polishing plant is a technical plant that will remove that manganese so that we don't have that yellow water. And that's about a $100 million project. Very expensive. And that water goes to North Utah County. Some of it goes into South Salt Lake County, but for the most part, that's Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, Vineyard. The growth that's occurring there is dependent upon this water. The Utah Lake System, that's the federal project that's going south down in the Santaquin area right now. And then the Don A. Christiansen Regional Treatment Plant, which is the mouth of Provo Canyon. We're having to do some upgrades there, and a portion of the money will be spent there. That's a relatively small money project with regard or in relation to the other projects that we just talked about. Now, the big project that we're in the planning stages is a project that would take water from the mouth of Spanish Fork Canyon south. It would incorporate the existing Highline Canal, which is open canal, 100+ years old, in need of repair. We would combine the Highline Canal with our Utah Lake Pipeline, which is already through that area, build a water treatment plant that then would deliver water to the south end of Utah County. South Utah County has pretty well maximized their groundwater availability and will need surface water in the near future. Our board has over the last 2 or 3 years, purchased property in the Santaquin area that will allow us to build a water treatment plant there that will deliver treated water throughout South Utah County all the way into Juab County. And that project, in closing the Highline Canal, is about $300 million. And then the total project, the treatment plant, everything else, will exceed $1 billion. So tremendously expensive projects. But I don't have to tell anyone in this room that there are new Utah County folks coming quicker, and some internal, some external growth, but certainly growth coming very quickly. The difference between our certified rate and our authorized rate overall is about $6.4 million. So if we did not go through the truth in taxation process, we would get about $120 million by going through and moving that up to our authorized limit of 0004. The difference is about $6.4 million across the entire district. This little graphic depicts in blue the increases that our board has authorized for rehabilitation of existing facilities. However, those orange or those blue bars don't match exactly the need. These large bars represent some of those projects I just talked about. 2021 was a project in the Uinta Basin replacing the siphon, and then 2026 are other large capital projects. Over time, as you see toward the right, the revenues that we get from rehabilitation will come close to matching the need. So that's our long-term game plan, is to do that. In the meantime, the difference between those two, this is our non-water treatment plant, a similar thing. You can see that there are expenditures beyond what we're collecting from replacement fees at this point. So for an average household in Utah County, which is $570,000, which is unbelievable, but that's what the numbers are. $570,000 average priced home in Utah County. At our certified rate, there would be a collection of $119.13 per year. With the proposed change, it would be $125.40. A difference of $6.27, which is about a 5.3% increase. And that represents a cost to the average homeowner of about 52 cents per month. So that's the magnitude of the rate change for the citizens of Utah County. We have, during this public process, we have a truth in taxation public hearing on August 25th in Roosevelt. Because of the size of our district, we hold hearings in multiple places. Then we will be in our Orem office on the 26th of August. And then just prior to our board meeting on the 27th of August, we'll have our third public hearing that will precede our board meeting, which starts at about 1 o'clock. So those are the items I would like to share with you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them. But appreciate the opportunity to share with you some of the incredible things that the great folks at Central Utah Water are in the middle of.
Thank you, Gene. Is Juab County currently a contributor? Do they currently, or will they be as soon as that water starts?
They have been contributing property tax since 1964.
So same as us. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're contributing about $5, but
Yeah,
yes.
but
There are projects that the district has built in Juab County, but at the same time, there has not been any water delivered there. The plan we just talked about would provide water, treated drinking water for Juab County.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question with that new facility coming online. All three commissioners were able to attend a meeting last week in Spanish Fork, and
Okay, good.
And wonderful to see everybody get in the room and help solve issues with one of our most precious, if not most precious, resource. Any
Yeah,
questions?
If we go back to this little picture, Commissioner, you can see that black line that goes
Yes. Mm-hmm.
south. That's the line that would carry treated water into the Nephi area and obviously deliver along the way to Mona.
And that would require the plant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, because this would be treated water.
Perfect.
Okay. Happy to answer questions.
Any others? No. Thanks
Thank
for being
you.
here.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
ya.
We appreciate all you do and appreciate the challenges that you folks face. We just figure out how to deal with water, and you have a few more items to deal with than water. So
You made it tough, stealing our attorney, you know.
Okay.
But we've made do.
okay, well we're trying to
We've made do, right?
we're trying to
Paul?
make good use of it.
We're limping along, Gene. Thank you. Appreciate
you.
it. Okay. All right. We'll move on down the line. Our next item is a public hearing to discuss the creation of the New Relief Mine Company 2025 Ag Protection Area. The area to be considered is approximately 175 acres located in Section 17, 18, and 19, Township 9, South, Salem, unincorporated area. Anything else I'm missing there, Kevin? Guess we'll find out.
Motion to open public hearing.
Okay. I'll suspend the rules and second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are now in public hearing for this item. If anyone's here to address the commission for it. Okay, seeing none.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 You may have had a gentleman raising his hand. I'm not
Oh.
sure if.
Come on up.
I just didn't understand what you were asking.
Oh, for public comment for that item. Are-
I'm representing Relief Mine, so.
Oh,
if you
okay.
have questions that way, I'd be glad to.
I think we're good based upon what we've got submitted. So yeah, thank you. Unless Kevin had anything he wanted to add. All right. We're very good. Okay. Now is the time where we'll build our consent agenda. Are there any of the 30 consent agenda items that you'd like to hold and discuss?
No.
Okay. We'll move into regular agenda then. And item 7.
Yeah, number 5, we need to continue to August 6th.
Yep.
Number 7, is the 16th safe, Ezra, or you want to do the 30th?
7 and 8 we could just strike, and then we
Okay.
want to revisit that after the Fiesta days. And
And yeah, so 5 continue to 8, 6, 7 and 8 strike,
Okay.
and hold 12.
I have that as well.
That's it from me.
I don't have any issues on, I got my questions answered on 10 and 11, so we're good there. And then we will hold, as far as closed, we will hold.
Oh, Dale, do we need to hold 10 or 11, or we're fine?
You don't need to.
Okay.
Okay. As far as closed meetings, we'll strike 18, 19, and 20 and hold 21.
Okay, we will not be holding anything on the consent agenda. On the regular agenda, we will continue item number 5 until the August 6th meeting. We will strike number 7, number 8, and we will hold number 12. On the closed, as far as closed meetings, we will strike number 18, 19, 20, and hold number 21.
Okay. Community development. I will butcher your first name. How do we say that?
Okay, sure. So my first name is Xiao, Xiao, and last name is Jiu Dong.
Okay.
And so we propose to amend the ordinance sections 12.12 RR5 zone and 12.16 TR5 zone to reduce the required side and rear setbacks to residential accessory structures, include detached ADU, so marrying under the 1,500 square footage from 15 feet to 10 feet. So I'm happy to answer any question regarding this amendment.
Yeah, so my question is, where did 1,500 square feet, pretty big, where did that number come from?
So right now, so our current ordinance have that, the 1,500 square footage for the detached ADU. So like related to the moderate income housing, if you like, we have specific range. So the first one is, if you want to build a detached ADU between, so under the 1,000 square footage, that means you don't need to record like restricted covenant related to moderate income housing in the Utah County Recorder Office. But if you want to build more than, so the range between 1,001 to 1,500 square footage, during this range, you need to record a restricted covenant for the moderate income housing in Utah County Recorder Office. We have that in our Utah County land use ordinance right now, according to the current ordinance.
Does that answer your question? So
Yeah.
1,000,
It just seems big to me, but yes.
and that's currently what we've
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, we're just
Correct.
lowering it from 15 to 10. So our current ordinance would allow you to build a 1,500 square foot detached ADU 15 feet from the line. We're just simply moving it from 10 feet. I was under the impression we did not have the 1,500 and we added that in because we're going to be 10 feet from the property line.
No, so yeah, Xiao's right. We have an existing ordinance for ADUs that allow up to 1,500, as she stated. And so that we use that to kind of allow a little more flexibility for property owners on smaller lots to be able to build closer to their property line, to utilize their property a little more effectively.
Yeah, that's correct. It's more flexible, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't look. How was the planning commission on this one?
They all
Unanimous.
supported it.
Everybody support it? Any other findings that,
No, it's
Okay.
fire was fine. Everybody
Good.
was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just again, this is, this was instituted last year with the CE2 zone. We just expanded this to RR and TR5 zones as part of our strategies for moderate income, and also just to kind of give a little more flexibility in those zones because they're residential zones, just like the CE2 zone.
and do we anticipate, I've noticed some municipalities getting pretty worked up, aggressive, if you will, about short-term rentals, you know? Do we have anything in statute? Do we address that at all in any of this with our ADUs?
Bryce Armstrong, Community Development. This ordinance does not address short-term rentals. We've kind of stayed out of that world. There was a time that the state recommended that jurisdictions kind of stay out of that, and now there's been some provisions that would allow for certain enforcement. We just kind of treat those by the use of the property. If someone wants to rent their home to a single-family or to a family, and we define families including singles, we don't limit the terms of that duration of that rental. If they want to rent it for a weekend, then they're limited to renting that to a family, just like every other home.
Gotcha.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah,
But this
yeah,
doesn't really
certainly.
address that. To Commissioner Beltran's question, I guess one thing I wanted to add is these zones that as Greg and Xiao have alluded to, that we've done this previously to and are doing to now, typically allow smaller lots. You can go down to half-acre sizes. And so we wanted to allow a little more flexibility as it relates to siting on a smaller lot relative to setbacks for these types of structures.
Well, for those smaller lots, I mean, you could build a really tall 40-foot ADU if you wanted on a half acre, the way our code is currently written, yes?
As long as it's only 1,500 square feet.
Right.
But yeah, you could stack it, small footprint for sure. And that could be 15 feet away.
Currently, yes.
Currently, and this would allow it to go to 10.
Fine.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
A motion to approve item number 12.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, takes us to our public comment portion of the meeting. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, we will go into closed session. Thank you, everyone.